Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our In Real Time series. This is me telling it as it happens, just as promised. And true to form, this is the first live session that I'm hosting. It is literally at the same time that I'm getting ready to launch this podcast. So here we go. The magic of the universe. It never fails to astound me. It's April 8th, 2024, and we've just gone through a massive solar eclipse. So here in Canada and British Columbia, we did not actually see the solar eclipse today, but that absolutely did not take away from the magic leading up to today, nor did it take away from all the beautiful energies that we received today. So I'm going to tell you firsthand about the synchronicities that I experienced in the week leading up to the solar eclipse, and in particular, what happened yesterday. And you're going to understand the type of issues that popped up for me and the questions that I had from what I was experiencing. And then I'm going to recount for you the magic of the synchronicities that happened yesterday so that you can understand and see and experience for yourself what it looks like when the magic of the universe and your guides unfolds around you. If that sounds good to you, then please stick around for the rest of this episode. Tuck on in and let's get started. There are 3 things that came up for me in the past week, and I will do them in the order that they appeared. So just over a week ago, I was woken up in the dead of night. It was sometime after 1 or 2 in the morning, and it happened twice. And this is what happened. I woke up and I felt like there was this surge of energy running through my body, kind of coming down like from on top of the crown, like from the top of the head, pouring down right through me and out, like just beautiful, rushing, fast-paced, fast-moving, fast-flowing energy. Literally, it's like someone opened a faucet and it was pouring down onto my head and through my energetic body. And it happened twice. So the first time it happened, and it woke me out of a dead sleep, and I'm just like, okay. As I was waking up, like you're coming to, right? You're coming out of your dream state. And already the brain is kicking in. It's like, what is this? What's going on? What is happening here? And there's that little moment of fear, that little moment of, I don't know what this is, and I don't know what's happening to me. And then you're awake. And in that moment, there's a lot going on. And I'm sitting there, well, I'm lying there, and I'm experiencing this, and I'm feeling it. And now my brain is like, okay, hang on, before we do the deep dive into, oh my God, what's going on? No, hang on. Let's feel this, because we know now that you need to really feel through what's happening. The mind can lead you astray. The ego can lead you astray. So let's not freak out just yet. Let's step backwards, a little bit outside of the scene, and just look at this from the heart space. Feel this one through. How does it feel? Does it not feel good? Does it not feel like a good thing? If so, then we're going to call in our guides and we're going to shut this sucker down. So the first time it happened, I remember going through it and thinking to myself, no, we're okay. Like feeling it out and thinking, no, like my heart space, my feeling matched what my mind was considering, and going with that. I can feel my heart, my soul saying, we're okay. Don't freak out. We're okay. This is good. So I checked in with myself that way. And it's like, no, this is good. Okay. And we honestly just fell back asleep. Second time, within probably an hour, woke up again. Same thing. And this time, now I'm intrigued. Now I'm no longer scared. I'm not, I've already dealt with that piece. Now I'm just like, what is this? And it's fun. Like, it's actually, at this point I am looking at the clock and it's just after 4 a.m. And I am just kind of flabbergasted. And the only thing that occurs to me in that moment is, oh, I know someone in our Lightworker kind of groups, and they speak of this. They call it a rushing. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is what they were talking about. Like, they've been experiencing this for years and not in their sleep. Like, they're wide awake and, having a reading or having a great workshop or a YouTube session. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, the energy's rushing. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And I kind of wondered if that was it. And in my mind, I think being able to align it to something known that wasn't feared, like they actually attribute that to a beautiful connection with their guides and the universe and spirit, it took on a very loving, nurturing concept, a very beautiful, nurturing way about it. So I felt safe. I felt perfectly good. I even felt kind of special in that moment to be receiving the energy at that level. And I fell back asleep. And that was that. Now, skip forward basically until this past weekend. And I still, I had questions about it. It didn't happen again. But I did have questions. And I had basically a group session. There's a group of us that works with one really gifted, a spiritual guide in the quantum and a healer and practitioner. Have been working with her for years, really a dear friend. And I had kind of asked this question in session saying, hey, like, I don't know what this is. And it's a group session. Like, we all talk about our stuff and seek help from each other and understanding, a little bit of witnessing that goes on. And it's fun because we build on each other's wisdom and knowledge and experience and each other's gifts. And before you know it, sometimes at the end of the session, we've walked away with so much more understanding and a deeper sense of that wisdom and just a beautiful new level of appreciation of what we're all going through. So I did ask the question, and what actually popped up was this kind of weird analogy. There's, I guess, a kid's video game or whatever that's out there, and there's something that comes in, and it's known as like the rush or the rushing. And it's kind of like you got to run away from this rushing. And if it gets you, like, boom, you're done. Game over. Pew, 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 And I kind of laughed in session. I'm like, well, still here. So obviously that's not what this was. But it was interesting that the first response was almost a fear response. And I considered that. And all that came to me in that moment was, well, there's a lot of things out there that lower vibration will use. The idea is that if there's denser energies that are trying to distract us from our quote unquote spiritual work, our energy work, our light worker mission, then it can appear in all sorts of ways. And a typical way is the news or things on TV or just, and you'll know what I mean when I say things of lower vibration. It can even be music that really has that lower vibe. It sucks you down, right? Lowers your own vibration. Okay. So video games is one way that this does happen out there in the greater world. And I thought, oh, I wonder if that particular game was put out just for this kind of a reason. Like when it comes up in the Lightworker realm, that it was to create a little bit of fear, so that people don't want it to happen or they shy away from it. Because, of course, that would be one way to keep us away from diving full on into our light work, diving full on into our mission and embracing the beautiful, love-gifted, God-given universe energies that are fully for us to become the people we're meant to become. So, that is something that occurred to me, but with everything else, you just tuck it to the back and kind of put it to the side, put it in that cabinet of knowledge and information, and come back to it at another time when it comes about again. Now we move to Sunday, April 7th, 2024, the day before the solar eclipse, literally yesterday. Okay. So I did some energy work. I did some meditations, preparations for today, trying to get my energy to a point where I'm like, okay, like get ready, be ready. It's like you're training for your big marathon or your race or whatever you're doing, or the big game. And I wanted to show up in my best form that I could for myself based on what I knew right now, today, or yesterday. So doing meditations, doing energy work, doing light activations all weekend, like getting there, feeling groovy. And even on Sunday, I had gotten up early, doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then I just thought, okay, need a cat nap. It's already mid-afternoon, done a lot. Let's integrate. And by integrate, it means for all the energy work you've done or meditations or whatever you've done to realign the energy within your body and raise your vibration up, your body needs time to literally just take a time out, integrate what you've done, and then it gets you up to just a different level of being, right? So you start to operate from that new level, that new energetic frequency that you've done the work to raise yourself up to. Okay. So now I get up from this nap and I wake up very easily. And all of a sudden, like I kind of bounce off the couch and I'm like, whoa, I feel so good right now. I felt so light. I was just like so light in my body. It was like, oh my God. It felt like someone had cut the rope on like a 40-pound weight that I had attached to me. It was the coolest and weirdest feeling I'd had in a long time. And I was like, this is fun. I just felt so light. It was so fun. So I took that sort of as my spirit guides, my team of light saying, hey, good work. You integrated. You're doing good. Now, have a good night kind of thing. And then later on that evening, I caught a YouTube video from one of my really esteemed mentors. And she's a very, very gifted spiritual light worker. She's got books. She's the whole caboodle, right? She hosts these monthly sessions. So we do sort of these huge group missions almost, if you will. It's always like a healing session or whatever, but we end up almost coming together and doing sort of a mission together, a healing of sorts. So she has this video that comes out and it's explaining a little bit of what's happening around this preparation leading up to the solar eclipse, because everybody's all into the solar eclipse this year. Okay, I'm going to link for you to her video below. Why? Because I want you to experience it for yourself, but I'm going to walk you through how this all played out and you're going to understand why. It's one thing for me to tell you my story and to recount how it happened as it happened, but I think it's going to be extra special for you to tap into this video once we're done here and you can experience hearing it for yourself, understanding perhaps how I felt and how I was processing it as it happened. Here's how it went down. In this video, she went over 3 things that came up, much more than that, trust me. But one of the things, and this is what leads me back to the title of this, Answers from the Universe, because this is what synchronicity looks like, folks. So if you're wondering when, you have this question, this burning desire, you're wondering about something that's top of mind for you, and you're asking your guides and you're asking your angels and you're asking the universe for help, or maybe it's just casually something that's occurring to you like, well, that was cool, I wonder what that was all about, and you put it out there and it's basically asking for assistance on that. This is what the synchronicities look like when the universe answers you. When your team of light, your tall order crew, your spirit guides bring you the information that you need. Part 1, the waterfall of energy. She basically described how there has been this huge increase of energy leading up to the solar eclipse, and it can be experienced or thought of like a waterfall of energy coming in. And I'm reading and I'm listening to this saying, yep, that was it. It was a beautiful cascade of energy pouring in down my pillar of light through my crown chakra, all the way through my body. It was beautiful. And she described it perfectly. That was the first confirmation or synchronicity that I was waiting for. It helped to confirm for me what I had experienced the week before. And it also confirmed for me how beautiful and loving that energy had felt and how it was just a beautiful thing to discover and experience. Okay. Part 2, the offer. So something that had happened also earlier in that day was from a really gifted Lightworker, a really good friend. So brilliant, huge mentor for me. And she had wanted to kind of join forces. It was them contacting me just to say, hey, we talked about this weeks ago. We wanted to work with some of the frequencies and distortions that we experienced in our light work. We wanted to release some of the negative energy, the dense energy around it, the distortions around it. And weeks ago, it had felt like perfect, like, yes, we will do this in the future, no problem. But when she contacted me yesterday, all of a sudden, I had this like clenching in my solar plexus and my gut. And I'm like, that's weird. Normally I would jump on this opportunity, especially right before the solar eclipse. And I sat with it. So my soul has a way of connecting with me. And there's two things that happens. Either I get sort of these bubbles that emanate up, I call it like my champagne bubbles of yes, or I get a headband of pressure and it feels like someone's cinching literally like a belt or something around the head, like a headband, and it becomes so much so you can't ignore it. That is my absolute defined no from my soul, from my higher self saying, no way, Jose. So in this case, as I was feeling through it, not thinking through it, trying to go inside and say, okay, dear soul, dear spirit, higher self, help me out with this. Like, why am I not jumping on this? Where are we at with this? What do you think we should do, right? Where are we at? And again, got the headband. So for me, that is a hard pass. I didn't really know why in that moment. I just knew that it was something that I had to go with and had to be like, wow, I'm going to have to let her know that I just can't. And in truth, I had all these things to prepare yesterday and had my whole evening planned out, and chances are good I wouldn't have been able to fit it in very well anyways. But for something that was so important just weeks earlier, now it was like, what changed? Why all of a sudden is this no longer resonating with me? Didn't know. But I let her know, like, I'm so sorry, thank you, but I'll have to pass on this. I don't know why, but I'm getting the hard no right now. No problem, of course. All is well, and she could still go ahead and do sort of a version of it that assisted her in her energetic resonance and what she wanted to do. So it all kind of worked out, and I could refocus my efforts on what I needed to do that night. Here's how it comes up in the video. She talks about the offer. And it's basically dense energies very subtly trying to work their way in and find a way to distract or to take away from the work that we're supposed to be doing, or take on the guise of something that sounds really good and should be really good and beautiful and loving, but there's a distortion in there. And many times we're not even sure what that distortion is in that moment. But that's where the ego can come in just a little bit in the, yeah, I'm going to heal this. Yeah, we're going to fix this. And then sometimes you don't even realize in the moment that like, oh, geez, I'm doing this from the mind. I'm doing this from the ego. This is something very subtly different. And you do that check-in point. So when I saw that in the video, immediately I was just, wow, like, I think the term is gobsmacked, but I just thought, holy cow, that's exactly it. That is exactly what just happened to me. And thankfully, I had enough wherewithal to just take a beat, to just back it up and say, okay, where are we at with this? So I was so grateful when this was reflected back to me through the video and gave me that additional level of understanding that I really hadn't considered in that moment. Now, we're going to go to the third thing, which is kind of fun, but here we go. Remember how I said I woke up feeling like $1,000,000? Okay. I really did. So late, snip, snip. I don't know what I released. I just figured I had done all this energy work and integrated it, and it had released old distortions and old programs that I no longer required, and that I was ready and awakened and going through this new solar eclipse portal the next day, and I'm going to be a whole new me in that way, right? Well, interestingly enough, the third confirmation I got from this video was that me waking up feeling so much lighter, being told that, hey, guess what? If you're feeling really light right now, you are, because this is the new light body of the Lightworker. And that's almost like a play or a pun on words, but it's not. The new light body that we're integrating into is crystalline, and it's made up of light and more light. It's no longer the density that it was. Yes, we still look like a human being. Hello. But even from my understanding of years of this, being told that the more light we integrate, the more that we become who we're supposed to become, you will see the changes. You will actually see it physically in your system, and you will. So for the past year, I have noticed that, especially in the sunlight, if you look at your skin, well, at least for me, when I look at my skin, you can see there's a little bit of a shimmer, but it's the most gentle and subtle sheen to your skin. And trust me, you haven't done anything to it. All you did was, shower and go out and sit in the sun that day. But you can see the crystals that are now showing up in your actual flesh, the beautiful crystalline matrix that you are becoming. And it is gorgeous, and it is what is holding the light even more. It's what's allowing all of that to integrate and carry the memory and the healing and the lightness so that we can let go of all that no longer serves us. This is the new light body. This is how it feels. And I was blown away. I was just 3 things, bing, bang, boom. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, this is a classic example of the magic of the universe and synchronicity. And this is what I wanted to share with you today. Telling it as it happens. In real time is the series. If you enjoyed this, there's so much more to come. I hope it helps you to understand things as we move forward, and I will do my best to guide you in everything as I'm thinking it, as I'm telling it, as I'm experiencing it. Wishing all of you a beautiful day out there, and I look forward to seeing you again. See you on the inside.